Yo, 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 what is up? What is up? I hope everyone's having a good night tonight. And we are, well, this is the 3 times the charm. And we got, I dragged Joe Castro from his job to get home as fast as possible to get on stream tonight. So Joe is back for a third time. What is going on, dude?
Chilling, man. I'm living a good life. This is the week that we've all been waiting for. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat it, act like it's just another day. This is the week we've been waiting for. Some good things to talk about. We talked about a little bit pre-show. Some things going on with the Eagles, so I'm excited, man. F Dallas. That's my first time saying it. Got 9.
Oh yeah, well, we will get to them. We will get to them later on, but we got to take care of our own business first. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. We got Michael, we got Quadre. What's going on? Flipping the bird 85. We got Blake Hart. We got Jonah. What's going on, man? Jazz, Rylan, Yancey, JP, Gunny, Mike, Krevek. What's going on, guys? So, yeah, I mean, today the Eagles made a move. We were kind of waiting on something. We didn't know how much the Eagles would be sellers going into everything. And, yeah, I mean, the Eagles trade Cavia Street for a 25 7th rounder to Atlanta in exchange for a 24 6th round pick. What do you think about that trade? And obviously the other, connected to that, it looks like the Eagles are looking to add more to the defensive line. Maybe this is where they're looking at going forward into tomorrow. So what'd you think?
I think Howie's being Howie as usual, man. I mean, I was surprised. I said it before. I was surprised that you got anything for. I'm not to say that Cavia Street is trash and he's just the worst player in the world, but he really hasn't done anything for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is a guy that has played other places, obviously, so there is tape on him and everything. And yesterday he had a pretty big play right in the red zone, had a pretty good tackle. I don't believe it was for a loss, but he had a good tackle on that run play, and that was really about it. I'm very happy. I think that there is something connected to this. What it is, we'll see. But even if it's just to create space and get that 6th round pick, like we were talking about from that Kevin Byard trade, it's pretty impressive. I mean, Howie Roseman always seems to do this. He always seems to find some type of value in what we think is for lack of better words, trash, right? Like nobody would have said, oh, this guy's going to go out there and get a 6th round pick for him. So I hope Cavia Street gets more PT. I know Falcons need it. So shout out to him. Shout out to Howie. It was a good trade, but hopefully this isn't the last shoe to drop. That's what I'm hoping for.
So this makes me think all over the place because like we're going through trade deadline. I was saying to myself, like, what would be, I don't mind luxury pickups. Okay. I'm looking for value. And I kind of looked at the Kenny Moore thing, got me really interested. The Kenny Moore thing was the most interesting thing to me because, I don't know what's going on with Bradley Roby this week. I know you're getting Cam Jurgens back. I know you're getting more to your offensive line. Jalen Carter seems to be okay right now, heading towards the right direction. But I think that nickel spot, because I don't think Josiah Scott is really your, guy going forward for the rest of the season. I don't think you have a star there with Roby, but can you trust his health? Number one. Number two, you really have no depth behind it. So the Kenny Moore thing, one of the best nickel corners. The Colts, aren't playing well this year. You have to, good relations with Shane Steichen, that used to be our offensive coordinator. So I'm figuring, why not go secondary? I mean, you can have as many corners as you could have defensive linemen, and would make a move like that. But for right now, it looks like if it is first, it was said it was an edge rusher. Then I'm seeing that it's just a regular pass rusher. So I don't know where the interest is. I've been hearing a lot of names today. I think one name I've been hearing, which I'm just trying to figure out because I haven't looked at the numbers yet. I heard Aaron Donald's name get thrown around a lot today. Yeah. I don't know why.
I saw the person that, and I'm not going to say that the person that said that, I don't believe at all. I'm trying to think of like the nicest way of saying this, you know what I'm saying? Because he does follow me, and I think I follow him as well. But yeah, it kind of, if it happens, that guy's Twitter is gonna go insane tomorrow. But I highly doubt it. I don't think that Howie Roseman would really want to, one, pay that price draft wise, and two, pay that price, salary wise. And then if once you do get Jalen Carter back, does Jordan Davis sit? Does Jalen Carter sit? Does Fletcher Cox sit? Like, that's a lot to figure out. I mean, it would be awesome. It would be, maybe he goes to the edge. Maybe that's their plan with him. I I doubt it. I wouldn't be mad though. I would not be mad. I would not be mad at all. But I highly, highly doubt it.
I mean, it could be the Rams could be a team that's trying to restart. I mean, really after their Super Bowl run and then really giving up. Right, really they were really trying to copy the Howie Roseman method, but they were just giving up. I mean, all future. I mean, they sold their souls.
Maybe after that little butt whooping they got from the Cowboys, they're like, you know what, we're gonna help the Eagles because screw you, Cowboys. At least the Eagles let us play some football. But yeah, so maybe who knows? I think that Howie has something up his sleeve, and whatever it is, even if it's on the offensive side, I think there are some holes on the offensive side. But defensively, outside of, I really don't know. I think that you can add anyone to any position, and I would understand it to a certain extent. You know what I mean?
I agree. Mr. Rudy Poo with the super chat says, "Get me Dante Jackson and Quez's buns, Joe. He don't got no dog in him." What do you think of Julio? What do you think of Julio Jones right now in this offense?
I think he's doing fine. I mean, he's not just like Quez. I know like people love to hate on my guy Quez. That's still my dog. But just like Quez, he's not going to see a lot of targets. It's not like, this is an offense that's going here and getting the third wide receiver heavily involved. We haven't seen it. So he's doing what he needs to do, which is block, which is get down the field, be at the very, very worst a distraction. Obviously got a very nice touchdown, and that's something that he brings that probably Quez Watkins doesn't. But at the same time, I love what he's doing. I don't think that he needs to do too much. We see what AJ Brown's doing, so he's good. Perfect pickup, perfect timing, But I will say, all those people that are talking junk about Quez, what happened to your boy Olamide? I thought Olamide was supposed to be the starter once Quez went down. Yeah, but it is what it is.
The opportunity is just not. I don't know. I mean, the opportunity is just not there. I think when they got Julio Jones, I mean, I was really shocked over that, but I think you legit have a mismatch there. I think you might not have that burner type guy. I mean, I don't know what he looks like vertically anymore. I really don't, but I think what you get out of Julio Jones is those reliable hands. He's got a big body. I mean, it's already enough that, Jalen Hurts is, not knowing what receiver is which between AJ Brown and Julio Jones. But I thought that for red zone, or if he gets more opportunity, it's a very good receiver to have. And I think we're getting a lot of value. I mean, I think he only costed a little over $300,000 for the year. It wasn't much.
And I think even added to that, he's a veteran, right? And I feel like that termage gets kind of overused sometimes, but I think he's the perfect vet to drop into your lineup, because you have guys like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith who have probably watched Julio Jones. You even got Quez Watkins who's probably watched Julio Jones. So it's probably cool to be able to say all right, what would you do in the situation? You know what I'm saying? How would you feel in this situation? How would you handle this? So I think beyond even the field, what he's been able to bring, what he's most likely, because obviously I'm not in the locker room, but what he's probably being able to bring to this team in the form of leadership, I think that's invaluable. So I love it. I love it. I'm glad to have him on the squad.
Yeah, I agree. Sean Davis with Super Chats. This team is barely getting by every week. We are all over the place. Nothing smooth. This Cowboy game will tell us who we really are.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where no team is playing perfect right now. I mean, there's really no team that's playing. That's what I'm saying. I was hearing Ike Reese talk after the game. He was like, I know fans are going to complain and say that the Eagles aren't playing up to standard to their best football, but there's really no team out there. It's already hard enough getting wins in the NFL. I know things aren't looking pretty sometimes. I will talk about the defense later. I know there's, it's very streaky with this team. You'll come off a big game defensively against the Miami Dolphins where they have a track star offense, and then you just hit the shit show down to Washington, and it just seems like they just have issues. Washington just gives us issues every time we face them.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how this defense, you said it perfectly. I mean, they did. And maybe it is Washington just kind of has our number defensively. I mean, you do have Eric Bieniemy over there, so it's not a surprise that they're able to put points up on us. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Bieniemy knows what we aren't that great at, and losing Jalen Carter did not help. Losing Milton Williams for a while did not help.
Jordan Davis was out.
Yeah, Jordan Davis was out for a while. It definitely didn't help, but I don't know. We came from the last Washington game, and I said this on Twitter, like we came from the last Washington game. Everybody was, me included, was like, oh, this defense is trash. I don't know what's going on. And we're not going to be able to handle the Dolphins or the Rams at that point, excuse me. And we went out there and we held down the Rams to under 250 yards passing, which hadn't been done up until that point. Obviously, we saw what we did against the Dolphins. So I think this team needs like to get smacked in the mouth every now and then, and it isn't fun. As a fan, it does suck, and it's anxiety ridden type season, right, until they figure it out. But hopefully it was just a mixture of Bieniemy knowing what he needed to do against this defense, the defensive players, like the new players, kind of trying to figure out what they got to do, because I think that was the 8th different secondary that we've used this whole season. So it's been a lot of up and down. You know what I'm saying? The linebackers look terrible as a whole. I see a lot of people talking about Dean. None of them look good. I
can agree. Like nobody looked good in the secondary. Everyone got burnt. Byard got burnt. Everybody. I mean, look, because you have so many moving pieces. Nothing's been set in this defense. Like you got Byard's first game, and people are saying like, "Oh, but look, we got Byard. He's not doing anything." Yeah. When Chauncey got here, it took him like 3-4 games. It took him a few games. It's really tough. Sidney Brown's moving to the nickel spot. I mean, you got too many moving pieces right now. Once this trade deadline is over with, hopefully now you'll have a set standard, and then guys will get, the chemistry will get better. The communication will get better. So I mean, Bieniemy is a good coordinator, man. I mean, he's great. Washington's a good team. I mean, offensively, I mean, Sam Howell's not a bad quarterback. I've given him respect the last couple of weeks. Now I understand the Eagles have given him more respect. I mean, his statistics are just insane. But every time, like we secondary wise, we really didn't contest anything. Like if Sam Howell had this much time, every receiver or tight end was wide open. I mean, I don't get, like, we talked about this last week. I feel like we're going to keep talking about this. Is like, what's the point of playing press if you're just going to mirror, if you're not going to get hands on? Just one push. All I'm asking is just one little push off the line, and you're good. Because I think you might as well play 10 yards off the ball if you're going to play press. You might as well play 10 yards off the ball.
Yeah, especially as aggressive as we were so aggressive, and that's what we wanted to see. Like that's the thing that us as Eagles fans have to kind of understand. A lot of people wanted to see 8 men going at how it didn't work. Like when we were sending a bunch of pressure, we didn't have the guys in the secondary to stop him, or stop the wide receivers. So it's kind of a wake-up call for I think everybody, to be honest with you. There was a lot of miscommunication between Byard and the other players, but there were also some good plays. And as doom and gloom as I want to be about that game, there were some things to look at and be like, you know what, we can figure this out. The pieces are there. Yeah. So as long as people get and somebody just brought up Sidney Brown, but as long as people get healthy, I feel confident in this team, and I think that we're going to do decent against the Dallas Cowboys, especially depending on our health. The Dallas Cowboys got a good offense. They do. Dak Prescott can put up numbers. He's done it against us, repeatedly. CeeDee Lamb is finally actually getting utilized the way he's supposed to. The Cowboys got something cooking, and I'm not going to be blind to that. But we are the best team in the league. Like I hands down, until somebody beats us, we are the best team in the league, and that's just how I feel. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens next week.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about some of the offensive issues, which we'll probably get to this question because this is the first time we've heard about this. Mike Revec with the Super Chat says, I would like to see us get a bruiser back for the red zone. And I've said this a million times, okay? Mike, I'm just going to say this, okay? And I think we've been talking about this literally every single day is that I think the Eagles have the running backs to get this done. The problem is the utilization on 3rd and long, red zone. It's been a problem. Not to mention, I was supposed to put out a video tonight before this other news came out on the Cavia Street trade. I had a big rant on Kenny G tonight that I don't know if I'm putting up yet because I ripped him to shreds.
Good.
-4 yards, and Rashad Penny is still not playing, and Kenneth Gainwell is fighting with fans with
during
a,
halftime.
I mean, you're using a cell phone. I mean, seriously, dude, like you bring your phone on. I mean, I'm surprised that the NFL hasn't done anything because that's not good. I mean, we weren't cheating or anything. This is a totally different thing, but I don't know what your thoughts on Kenny G with the whole phone situation. And
It's funny. I asked on Twitter, I was like, what do y'all think we should do? Right. And people started like ripping me like I was saying something bad about. I just wanted to know what people thought. Like, I just wanted to see what people were thinking. Me personally, I don't like it, but it's a snowball realistically. Like if this happened and he was if DeAndre Swift did this at halftime, I would probably be like, whatever, bro. I like that little fire. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you.
Yeah.
I would be like, listen, I like that fire. But Kenny, you probably just shut up right now. You should probably just shut up and grin and bear it. I mean, you have not played well. You are literally out there just because of a deficiency of another player. It's not because he's great. And realistically, I don't think there's anything that he can do outside of pass blocking at this point that is better than Boston Scott. Why not use Boston Scott? If you don't like Penny that much, use Boston Scott or trade for somebody. I really don't know what Kenny Gainwell is here for anymore. I had high hopes for him. He had a good little run last year towards the end. Maybe he's playoff Kenny. Maybe he's the guy that, when the playoffs are going on, he's the guy you want to go to. But yeah,
I mean, but realistically, Boston Scott's better in red zone. I mean, he definitely is.
Yeah.
He's 100%. We've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
Because last year was last year, okay? Like, Kenny G had a good year last year, but I don't like comparing to last year. I don't like comparing the offense to last year and how like, I get it. Because really, statistically, the Eagles are actually playing pretty good offense. I mean, they're playing pretty good.
Yeah.
They should be putting more points on the board. We know this. But your red zone, man, it's an issue. But Boston Scott, because he has that sneak speed, he's got like that little size that, he's got those, the big lower body. I mean, he could, he's sneaky. And I feel like they could do so much with him. It's already enough. Like, I understand you have to rest DeAndre Swift, okay? But the thing is, like, I hate this is what they do in the first half. These coaches, this is what they do, okay? They'll take a running back, they'll take DeAndre Swift, and they'll use him for a quarter. They do this quarter bullshit with these running backs. They'll use DeAndre Swift for one quarter, and then they'll go to Kenny G. And then what I have to respect, even in the Dolphins game, I thought they used a little bit more Kenny G. They used a little bit more Swift in the second half, which, just a little bit. I'm not saying he's got to have over 20 carries. But the thing is, dude, like, he can handle over 20 carries a game or every other game. He could do it, and you got to keep him healthy. I understand that, but because really from Diana Rossini, which she said like a few days ago, last week, or it was like a week ago, when she was talking about the top, Eagles going after a top tier safety, that was like the main news. But then I'm guessing maybe teams have called the Eagles on Rashad Penny, maybe to say, what's going on? Like, is he available for trade? What's going on? Like, is he healthy? Is he hurt? And the Eagles are just like, do you think this guy needs to get some football snaps to take some hits and do something? Could he be hurt still? Is he still... why do you keep in 4 running backs if you're not even? And sometimes they, he doesn't feel good. They put him on, they take him off as a healthy scrap. Like, what is the deal with Rashad Penny right now?
I wish I knew. I wish they knew. I don't think they know. That's the probably scariest thing about it, is that I don't think they know yet. And it's like, we saw DeAndre Swift not get any touches in the first game, and then he kind of forced his way onto the field with that second game when Kenny Gainwell was hurt. I don't know if that's what's going to be necessary. I obviously hope that's not what's going to be necessary, but it feels like they just don't want to give guys a chance. You can even look at the offensive line. Tyler Steen played 6 snaps, probably the best 6 offensive snaps that we saw. Probably, realistically, Sua Opeta was not that good. I'm sorry. He just was not that good.
Tyler
so
Steen,
happy to get Cam Jerkins back. But Steen looked good.
Yeah.
Steen looked good. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I think I do know what they're doing, and I think all Eagles fans know what they're doing. They're playing favoritism. They like this guy. That's their guy. That's the guy they had belief in. They want to keep on hammering that nail and they kind of did it with Quez Watkins. I'm not gonna lie. They want to keep on hammering that square peg into a round hole until it works.
I guess they it has to take a guy going on IR to start to go on to the next guy, because
it makes no sense.
Like what Sirianni said, he's like, oh well, Jalen Hurts threw picks. Did I not give him another opportunity? AJ Brown had the fumbles last year, a few fumbles last year. But dude, the difference is they're good. They got
Yeah.
skill. They don't suck. Like
That's
that's what I'm saying. Like, don't give Kenneth Gainwell any excuse. Like, I can write a book on Kenneth Gainwell, why I'm just like so fed up with this. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's just crazy right now. And like, I don't want this to bite us in the ass. The one thing I'm waiting for right now, this is the one thing I'm waiting for. The one thing I am just waiting for, that one game where they start him in like the most important fucking moment and he fumbles the ball. Like, not one snap all season. They throw him in, we're excited, and then he fumbles the ball on a crucial down.
See? Like, you see, we told you. We told he ain't that good. We told you. That's what's gonna happen. I don't want to say to that extent, but I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised because the Eagles are just I love what we're doing. And it's crazy that we're complaining about this because you said, and it's true that we could have put up way more points in a lot of games. And we're still fourth in scoring right now. It's just kind of crazy to think of. But and I say this, I feel like every single week, and I feel like I'm kind of becoming a broken record. But like, once this team actually starts clicking on all cylinders at the same time, this team is going to be unbeatable. There's nobody that's going to be able to beat them. They're like, we're finding ways to win when somebody's screwing us over, which is crazy. It's just crazy. Let
me tell you, if you fumble twice, okay, you get two turnovers in the red zone, okay, no quarterbacks are coming back for that. I'm sorry, but Jalen Hurts, like, he had he's hurt and he's slinging it. It's crazy, dude. Like, he might, there might be some uncomfortable, maybe he is uncomfortable in certain situations where he has, he's thrown some picks. I get it. But he could throw the picks, but he comes back and he scores. Like, that's why, like, this is the difference between Dak Prescott and some of these other Brock Purdy. The San Francisco 49ers have lost 3 straight games. Once they start throwing picks like that, once you throw that first pick, they're done. They fold like a lawn chair. Like, that's the difference between Jalen Hurts. Like Jalen Hurts will throw a touchdown and he looks like he doesn't even give a shit in a good way. Seriously, like, he throws a touchdown, he just walks and just stares out like that. Like, that's, because it's a good moment, but like, you have a whole half, you have a few more quarters to play. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's why I like him so much. He just doesn't fold. And that's what's going to take this team far. If you didn't have Jalen Hurts in this offense, you're not going far. You're losing most of these games.
Facts. And the quote that he said at post game, where they were like, "Oh, do you feel like this was your best game?" He was like, "It must be if you ask about it." I was like, I love this dude. But Jalen Hurts, man. Yeah, that's my dog. I like this dude. He's the guy.
Well, by the way, we got 327 in the chat. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, like the stream up, and definitely subscribe to Joe Castro, Philly, the podcast. His link is in the description below. Covers the Eagles and does a lot for the Eagles community, the draft. I mean, everything. You want every type of inside information. He's very good at it, so definitely go to his channel and definitely sub him up. We have a super chat from Mr. I've been really slow today, so Mr. Rudy Poo with the super chat says we need a starting caliber corner. Bradberry and no play Slay are not cutting it. Geriatric corners, not it. So I know the issues with our starting corner. I honestly think, okay, what the big problem is with these two guys is that they're just not getting hands on. They haven't shadowed Slay like they did last year, and with this defense they're running right now, they really, what's the point if you're playing far back, you're playing off ball if that's the case? What is the problem with what is the problem with Slay and Bradberry? Like do you think there should be a change after next year? How do you think this is panning out the rest of the year with these two guys? Just your focal point on them from the beginning of the season until now in this moment.
Bradberry's having a bad year. I would definitely say that. Slay's kind of doing what he does. I mean, this is kind of what he is. We didn't really care about it last year because we had good safety play. So they kind of covered up a lot of his deficiencies. But you're seeing what happens when you don't have those guys in the back. Our back two are not that strong, and realistically, they're not the same every week. So I don't want to give them any excuses. But I think that if the play doesn't pick up once Byard's, kind of comfortable and Reed is playing a couple games in a row, then you can definitely sit there and be like, what are we going to do next year? I don't see a trade being possible really for either of them, depending on how this year ends. it would be up to them. I really do believe that. I don't see the Eagles just being like, oh, screw these guys. Let's move on and get Eli Ricks the starting job, because Eli Ricks is under contract whether he likes it or not. Josh Jobe is under contract whether he likes it or not. So a lot of these guys, they're going to say, hey, we like you. You're going to have your time. But I think that if Slay and Bradberry feel like they're good to go next year, they'll probably be here. Again, it depends on how the season goes. But I do agree that we probably need to make a change next year. There probably needs to be a change. I don't know if it happens. I love Eli Ricks, and I love that everybody's talking about Eli Ricks. But outside of that, who else do you really have? Josh Jobe is okay. You got Isaiah Rodgers, but he's more of a slot guy. So Avonte Maddox, maybe you move on from, but you don't really have a guy right now. I mean, outside of Eli Ricks, which even Eli Ricks, we are happy, and I love Eli. I've liked him since before the draft. Even him, it's like you haven't seen enough to really say, oh, he's way better than Slay. He's way better than Bradberry. I just don't know that just yet. I think that he will be in time, but it's tough to say next year with these two. They are not looking good. There's no doubt about that, especially Bradberry. Bradberry's definitely been kind of disappointing, but also we're putting him in positions that aren't really what he's good at. He's not a good guy to ask to go on these shifty receivers and play man press. That's not what he does. He's just not that great at that. He needs big guys.
Yeah, I mean, sit back. I mean, like you sit back and you're reacting to the break of a route. Like, how are you supposed to win that match? Like, I don't get how you're supposed to win that matchup. I really don't. I think it's impossible for anybody. You could put Patrick Peterson in his prime there, 8 to 10 yards off the ball. And I don't think nobody's making a play. Yeah. Unless you're getting open field tackling, and that's what you get. If you want to keep everything underneath, you got to tackle well. And sometimes, like, I didn't think the last game they tackled fantastic at all. A lot of missed tackles, and Slay missed some tackles. I mean, a lot of guys weren't really tackling well. So I think going to next year, secondary wise, like, yeah, you have Rodgers coming back from the gambling thing. So, I mean, I think nickel's going to be set because I think Sidney Brown should really be your hybrid player. I honestly think he should play safety, and he should be definitely, and he's played at nickel at Illinois. So he's done both. And, but the thing is, we're moving too many guys around right now. We're making moves, and we've been on and off the injury list nonstop. Like, the Eagles need to get through the Cowboys. The Eagles need this bye badly, not even just for the defense's sake and for guys on the injury list or guys that are partially hurt, because everybody's banged up at this point. But for the number one reason is Jalen Hurts to get more healthy. And like whenever he had, because really we've noticed there's no run, there's no QB run designs. Like there's no,
thank God.
And then there's
draws.
And look, there's nothing wrong with him using his legs. Like I get it. Like it's just I think it's been something that he's not being himself, and it's maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes injuries are a blessing in disguise when you see somebody pop into the secondary or offense and they do a good job. Like maybe forcing Jalen Hurts into a pocket passer right now is just like one of those things where, maybe he's getting used to it. Maybe he's becoming better in the pocket, and I think he is. I mean, he just had his best game, and it was just crazy. So,
6 games, I think, in a row that he's had over 300 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. That's not something I would have said last year, or not even last year, the year before that. I would not have thought he could do that. I did not think that would be his type of game. But like you said, him just being able to not being able to, but kind of having to sit in that pocket and be more of a pocket passer, I think it's beautiful. And I think not just the passes that he's completing, but not the interceptions, the incompletions that he's finding. That's a big part of being a quarterback, is finding incompletions, like being able to understand a player's dead and throwing the ball away and not getting intentional grounding or just flailing around and throwing the ball into an interception. That's big to learn. So I've said it before, he needs to learn how to fail. He's a very very good quarterback, and he's all about winning, but sometimes within the game you got to take an L within the game, and I'm glad he's learning that now, because honestly there's probably a lot of times in that Super Bowl that but not maybe the Super Bowl, but at least one or two times that he probably should have just gave up on the play, called it a play, and just kept it moving. And even in the past couple games, there's probably a couple that you're like, hey, just the play's dead. Just live on, just
Don't
live to
force
fight
it.
another
Right.
down. Yeah, exactly.
I get it. Like the 3rd and 9 from the Jets, like didn't need to force that in. Like, it just happens, and you know what? But it's not putting them down. Like it just, you know what? It's another week and they come back and they win. So it's just very up and down sometimes with the defense and all that stuff. So I think good things are ahead. Kevin says the Joey and Joe show.
I
It
like
definitely is. We might have to
I
change
like
it to that.
that.
I mean, I kind of look now and I'm like, okay, like we've been saying this on Twitter, like the past, pretty much the whole season. Like this is no one. I swear to God, like I see people throwing up scores, screenshots of like scores on opponents from what the Eagles do, what the Cowboys do, the same shit every week. And we say this every week. Me and you are pretty much on the same page when we say this is a week-to-week league.
Yeah.
Because really before the season started, we're like, oh my God, we got San Francisco, we got the Bills, and like a lot of these teams aren't playing good. Like a lot of them are really it depends on injuries. That's why I hate doing schedule reviews. I can't stand them. I hate them because it's just so unrealistic. It's fun, but it's unrealistic because you don't know what your team's going to look like from this week to that week. Are you peaking too early? So when you look at it, like the Cowboys score over 40 on the Rams, and they're getting back into their ways like they were in the beginning of the season. They were scoring 30, 40, and winning in style, and it's just to a point now where it's like you got to be ready every week, because if you're not, and we've seen that with a lot of teams, if you're not prepared, you're not ready. I don't think the Eagles aren't just going to lay down for Dallas. Okay. Everybody know that those players know what this game is all about. And trust me, for the new players that haven't faced the Cowboys and what this rivalry means, people are going to find out about it real quick this week.
Yeah, and you got a couple guys from Philly. So, like, you got DeAndre Swift, Kevin Byard. I'm sure there's probably a couple more that I'm not remembering. I think Hassan Reddick isn't too far. I know you grew up an Eagles fan. So, yeah, you got a couple guys that want to go out there and beat up on the Cowboys. And realistically, it's cool. Cowboys can be all hype about that game. The same way that they have the right to be all hype about that game, I have the right to not really give a damn. The Cowboys are a good team. We are a good team. This is probably the second time, I think, now that Jalen Hurts is actually going to face Dak Prescott. So, look, this is it. I'm going to have to either eat crow or I'm going to be talking mad junk. I'm telling you right now, when we win, I am going to be insufferable, because I do not believe that many teams really feel the Eagles are what they are. I think a lot of teams, a lot of fan bases want to sit there and kind of poo-poo on our wins, poo-poo on what we do. And that's fine. They talk a lot of junk about Jalen Hurts. He's not this, he's not that. But at the end of the day, the records that we're putting up, whether it's AJ Brown, whether it's Jalen Hurts his damn self, whether it's team records, it speaks for itself. And honestly, once we do win that game against the Dallas Cowboys, the whole NFC East has to shut the hell up for a while. We swept the Washington Commanders. They're good. They did their thing. They had good games, not good enough. You go out there and you're able to beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants are tanking, so I don't care about them. So at the end of the day, y'all got to shut the hell up and just watch us do our thing. Once we beat the Cowboys, that's it. That's it. Go play your schedule. Go have fun. And I love the fact, and I think you have a Cowboys fan in the chat. I love the fact that Cowboys fans come to us to talk about them, but then be like, why do y'all talk about us so much? Because you're here. You're here. You want me to talk to you. But then when we talk to you, we're, y'all you care about is the Cowboy. Whatever. We do. All we care about is our opponent every single week. That's what we care about. And right now, it's them stank Cowboys. And I can't wait to beat them up, because, man, from Micah Parsons' little podcast saying that we're the best team, now everybody wants to talk about, you only got one play. All we got to stop is AJ Brown. I would love for you to think that. I love that you think that. Like, that's all we got is AJ Brown. We got a terrible defense, terrible offensive line, terrible running game, terrible quarterback. All you got to stop is AJ Brown. I hope that you find a way to do it. I hope that I want you to come to Philly thinking that. I would love for you to think that, because you got to play the fans too.
But the thing is, it's either the Cowboys the Cowboys it's either the Cowboys dominate or once they struggle just a little bit, they're done. Like that's the difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles. That's the difference between both quarterbacks. I've said this a million times. When the Cowboys just struggle just a little bit in a game, they're finished. It's happened. It's happened a couple times already this year. And like the Eagles, like if the Eagles barely win, it's a loss. If the Eagles, that's what it. I feel like I lose every time, every week. That's how I feel. I feel like we're like, all right, well, we only won by a few points, and we lost the game, but we won. Like it's just so stupid. Like when you see a fight, you have these character building wins. The Eagles have played in bad weather. The Eagles have been behind and come back. The Eagles have played in overtime and won. I mean, the Eagles, because when you get into these situations down the road, it will not faze the Eagles being in a situation like this. Exactly. Us fans, yes, like last time against Washington, we were in overtime. This game, I was like, don't even tell me we're getting into another. I was thinking we were going to get into another overtime game. I was about to shit my pants. Like, I hate these games. I hate being on edge. I love being, of course, we all love being comfortable watching the game. We love that, but we haven't had a game really like that this year, really. I mean, we were always worried, defenses are going to get through and ruin our offensive play calling. We're always worried that, the offense is going to run out of gas or something's going to happen. But, this team has proved to us that they fight. They're a resilient team, and they're not going to lay down on Sunday. I mean, we're going to find out what Howie Roseman adds to this defensive line because something's happening between tonight and tomorrow. And I'm telling you right now, like something's cooking right now. It's cooking.
I think the Eagles have the perfect, if they utilize it, that's the perfect, that's the main thing. If they utilize it, they may have the exact recipe to dishearten the Dallas Cowboys. If you can go out there, which we've done plenty of times, and get 9, 10, 7, 8, 9, 10 play drives on this Dallas defense and end it with some points, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, and take, 5, 6, 7 minutes off the clock, you're going to make them mad as hell. You're going to make them so upset because that's the defense is the bread and butter. That's what they're living off of. If you can just ram it down their throat every single play, I mean, run it down their throat every single play. They're not going to be able to keep up with us. I'm sorry. If Cam Jurgens is healthy, and I don't want to keep saying but if as long as Cam Jurgens is healthy, that's really the biggest thing for me. I don't see anybody really stopping this offense.
You got to stop AJ Brown, bro. You look what AJ Brown did the past 6 weeks. I mean, seriously,
what are you looking at him? That's the craziest part. They know he's coming.
Dude, I had a guy who was like a few weeks ago meet AJ. There's a guy I know that met AJ Brown. He had on-field passes a few weeks ago and was like, dude, like, I went to go shake AJ Brown's hand and I was like, holy shit, that guy is you're like humongous. I mean, holy shit, dude. Like, AJ Brown breaks Megatron's record for 6 consecutive games at 125 plus yards. I mean, and Eagle fans sometimes aren't grateful for this receiver core too, because they really try to split a fucking wedge in the middle between Devontae Smith and like the crap I've been seeing about Devontae Smith. Like Devontae Smith had 99 yards. I mean, he still had a good game. Now you realistically got 2 number 1 guys for you. I mean, easily. Really.
Yeah, and people are, as Eagles fans, we have every right to be picky right now. We want to win a Super Bowl, just like Howie Roseman and, Lurie and I'm sure, what's Holmes' name? Nick Sirianni. I don't know why I forgot his name. I'm sure they're picky too. They probably don't like what they're seeing. But at the end of the day, all that negativity, and we know certain people that do it, a lot, but all that negativity is for not for our birds, but for the birds. We don't need that. We really don't need that. It's about getting better every week. And I see a lot of people talk to me about being more positive, being more Eagle-centric. I am an Eagles fan. I am Eagle-centric, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, the Eagles are amazing. Yeah, we gave up the ball this.
But here's the difference, bro. Here's the difference. We show up whether this team wins or loses. We don't make a video 8 days later. We don't just saying. We lost the Super Bowl and trust me, as much as I want to disappear for 2 weeks, and trust me, I wanted to. There's no doubt about it. but it is what it is at the end of the day. You got to take the losses, and you just got to get through it. And trust me, at the end of that Super Bowl, now we got to talk about free agents now. Like, I can't even get over this. Like, it sucked. It was.
I was
probably
in
like
Kansas City after the Super Bowl. Imagine that. I was for the draft. I was in Kansas City. That was the worst. That was the worst.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy. It's just nuts. Baldy with the super chat. Thank you so much. The Seahawks and Lions are better than the 49ers and the Cowboys. It's just, dude, it's nuts. Like, you talked about, like, Micah Parsons. Like, there's so much talk right now, and I think it's gonna heat up, and the Eagles are just gonna stay quiet. Like, AJ Brown after the game was like, I don't care about my statistics. Like, it's gonna be a war. It's gonna be a war. The mindset going into this thing. Because Micah Parsons in that pot, I'm not a big fan of, like, today's day and age where I don't mind guys having a voice. Like, oh, well, Micah Parsons, he can't have a voice? I'm like, no, it's not that. But if I had one of our players go on a podcast and, like, really talk about, not about any team, but a division rival, maybe if it was the off season or something, like, and you want to go over teams and their moves, I get it. The Kelsey brothers have their own podcast. They talk about a lot of different things, and that's fine. But I feel like he puts a target on his back every single week, and he's not, and he's on national. When they draft Jalen Carter, he makes himself look stupid. Like I don't get, like, I don't know what he gets out of it, and I don't get it at this point. I don't.
He just wants to be the center of attention. He wants to be the star of the star. I mean, that's right. He gets it from his owner, because Jerry Jones has his own podcast too, apparently. So, I think it's stupid. I do a show with my boy James every Saturday, the Cowboys best of enemies type thing.
Yeah, it's a great show.
And we talked about this, and he was very honest about it. He was like, if you're losing now to the Eagles, everybody's going to look at you and be like, oh, maybe you were right. Maybe they're just way better than us right now. Maybe they're the best team in the league. You said that on your podcast. You're our leader, and that's kind of what you put yourself. If you're not having a great game and you're not beating the Eagles, now the rest of your team's going to kind of look at you like, maybe you were right, like, so it not only puts a target on the back of your back, but it also kind of makes the rest of your team feel like, all right, well, do we even have a shot? Our best player is saying that they're the best team. Do we, and then you got your quarterback saying, put honey on me. Like, hey, I don't know what that was all about. Pour some sugar on me. That was the weirdest statement I've ever heard. But you got a lot of weird even Jerry Jones said, oh, I'm not going to talk about the Eagles. I've learned my lesson. The things that these guys are saying, I'm not saying it's bulletin board material, but my thing is, how are Cowboys fans talking junk when your own team doesn't really believe in your own team? That's really what I'm getting from it. Maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but that's I don't know. I think it's corny. I think that's the best way to put it. I think it's corny, because if Jason Kelsey came on a podcast, even though they did that whole thing, week before the Super Bowl, there was not one moment that he was like, yo, you guys are better than us.
Look, if it's after the game and we lose a game and he says they played well, fine. No, you give props where props is due. But when you have, like, a game on the line, okay, and this game could change a lot of things for the Cowboys. I mean, obviously, like, if the Eagles lose this game, then it's they're a half a game back, because of the bye week and stuff like that. So I understand that. But I don't like these podcasts going. I mean, I don't mind it, but it's just like, you got to be, when you're in season and you're getting paid by an organization, like, you got to, like, stay focused. And I'm not saying that Parsons isn't focused, but then he's like, oh, Cowboy fans, do me a favor, take over the link, go down there. And I'm like, dude, like,
that ain't gonna happen. It sounds good. It sounds so good. And he's from the area. And he knows. Like, bro, that ain't gonna happen, man. I know that there's Cowboys fans in Philly, which I think is, like, the weirdest thing in the world. And there was actually these two Cowboys fans that live in Philly, that were, like, scamming in like real estate scams. That's, like, big right now. And I think that's perfect. I think that makes so much sense.
Here's another thing, dude. It's like here's another thing. Like, we're not thinking about a division title as much as, like, exactly. I think the Eagles are going to get it, and I think they will. And obviously, there hasn't been a division repeater since a repeated division consecutive wins. Since
2004, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say 4 or 5. you know, but that's all they care about is beating the Eagles. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like there's so many more games you got to play this year. Like we are the least of anybody's worries this year. Okay. Last year they beat our backup. We almost, it was close. Okay. We beat their backup. They beat our backup. So now Sunday we're going to find out. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to throw it in everybody's face. Like, just like how Mahomes beat us on one leg, I'm going to be like, well, Jalen Hurts can't run, and he beats your ass.
One leg. We using the same one leg. He on one leg. And it's funny because a lot of Cowboys fans are like asking me, oh, like you guys are at full health and everything. And I just say, listen, he's playing. I'm not going to say no injuries to no Cowboys fan. I don't need to know nothing because all they're going to say, oh, that's an excuse. But I bet you any money the first touchdown that Jalen Hurts throws, he wouldn't have done that on Trayvon Diggs. I can guarantee you.
It's stupid, though. As much as I want the Cowboys to be fully healthy, that's just what it is. I don't make excuses, but when I say we get killed at a certain position, it's going to happen. But the Eagles are going to this game, hopefully, with some reinforcements coming back. Hopefully, Roby's back. I don't know what's going on with that. But if Cam Jurgens comes back and he's 100% healthy, he's good. It looks like Jalen Carter is playing. And yes, like we really need Jalen Carter to play in this game. I want to see Jalen Carter in his first Cowboys game at home, okay, and wreak havoc. We're going to show you what drafting a DT in the first round and the right choice, the right one you drafted, okay, to show you what it's all about. And I think that's very important. So Drew at the Super Chat says, don't talk when half the Cowters fan base hates strawberry daiquiri. Make it make sense. Go Birds.
They got a Cowboy Rita. They do margaritas out there. I always hear them talking about their big ass margaritas that they have out there. I don't give a damn. I mean, nobody. Cowboys will probably have a decent amount of fans at the link. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like they won't, but not enough. I'll tell you that much. Not enough. Not like we do. Not how we get down. Not how we go to different stadiums and take over, stadiums. They see us do it and they're like, oh, let's try that. Like, nah, that's not how it works. Most of Dallas fans are either old, which I'm old too, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but they're either old or they're just delusional or they're both. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I ain't worried about none of, they're going to cry about how rude we are. We've seen this story. We've read this book. It's going to be the same thing every year, man. Oh, they're rude. They're ruthless. They don't have no manners, blah, blah, blah. You're coming to our house. Throw all the manners out the window. Throw all that stuff out the window. We're going to be rude to you. We're going to be ruthless to you. We're going to stand up in front of your cheap seats. We're going to do all that. We're going to do all of that. And I can't wait to see it. I hope we demolish not only the Dallas Cowboys, but their fan base. I hope that they literally get off of Twitter for at least a good week. Like that would make me so happy. To
go into the bye week like that, we'll be sitting back, we'll be feeling good, and we're gonna get guys healthy. It'll be the perfect week for the Philadelphia Eagles, no doubt. We got Rican Silverback. With Super Chat. Says, did you see Dak smiling pregame after asked about playing Eagles? Also saying post game, let's make it 3 in a row. He is talking, looks it up. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see that at all. I didn't even watch the Cowboys this week. I'm gonna hear it anyway. I mean, whether I go on Twitter, it's gonna pop up. So I mean, do I really need to search this up? Probably not. But it's eight. You have 8 years, man, and you've had good rosters. He's had a ton of chances. This is, as much as this is a big rivalry game, like this is a statement game too for the Eagles in a lot of ways. And I think Cowboys are going to talk a lot this week. I think the players are going to talk a little bit. They're going to try not to, but I feel like there's going to be certain things said, and I feel like the Eagles aren't going to. Some guys don't listen to the outside noise. Some guys get motivated by listening to the outside noise, and it's going to happen. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because people were telling me I was being negative, saying that the Eagles got something improved. They do, and I think the Eagles will be the first to say it. Like, nah, we're gonna go out there and whoop these boys' ass because we want to win a Super Bowl. So they can keep talking about the 8-3 divisional. Oh, Dak owns them. He don't do nothing in the playoffs. So we're gonna go out there and beat your butt. Now that we're healthy, you know what I'm saying? No excuses. And That's it. Shut up for the rest of the year. I know they won't. I know they won't. They might take a couple days off, but I know they're not going to shut up for the rest. Yeah,
Nah, this
I'm
will
hoping
hurt.
that.
Nah, this will hurt. They'll take a week off.
I'm hoping that's what I need.
The last loss they had, it was pretty bad. It was probably the quietest I've ever seen. And the people are in the chat saying I don't hide. Let me tell you, I know names and I see in streams what's going on. And let me tell you, half of these guys that say they don't hide, they hide every time things go bad. They never show up. They're never humble. We're the guys that put our faces on camera every single day, every single week. And we take it, and they're here. They're here because they love us so much.
Exactly.
That's the reason
they want to be Eagles fans. At the end of the day, they know they want to be Eagles. You would be surprised. You probably wouldn't be surprised how many people have told me that are Cowboys fans that have straight up told me, I wish the Cowboys had the same fan base as you, the same type of culture, the same type of atmosphere as the Eagles. They want to be us. As much as they won't admit it, they want to be a lot like us. I won't be say just like us, but they want to be a lot like us. They do not like Jerry. They wish they had Howie. They do not love Mike McCarthy. They love what Nick Sirianni does as far as letting his players be players and, letting Lurie, letting his coach be a coach, letting his team, just do what they do, and him being an owner sitting back. They want what we have. They can lie and say that they don't, but they want what we have. So, let them sit in that little river called denial, right? That's what it is, denial.
Yeah, no, I get it. Definitely. Jack White Super Chat says, I think Micah just was trying to jolt his owner into making some moves that they're hearing Jones wasn't expecting to do anything. So you're thinking that him saying that the Eagles have no weaknesses, that means it was motivation to tell Jerry Jones passively to make moves for the team. But when do the Cowboys make? I mean, this like 6-7 years ago, bro. If we're going like far back, like the trade deadline was a joke. Like maybe 1 to 2 teams would make a move. Now it's just so active now. And it's almost automatic that Howie Roseman is selling and buying, depending on what our roster looks like every year. You got to respect Howie Roseman. I mean, not only like, he thinks in the moment when he makes trades, like he's always thinking about the future. So he's always making little moves, even in the draft when he moves back a few spots and gets a pick for next year. Like it's just in motion all the time. Guy is just smart. He knows how to calculate the calculations and do his thing. And I think that's why nobody could be him. I mean, we wanted this guy fired, 3.5 years ago. And when you start drafting well, you don't have to spend a lot in free agency. You don't have to break the bank. And, you don't build your roster through free agency because you're putting yourself in a deep hole if that's the case. And too many teams have done it. The Eagles did it in 2017. They signed a lot of cheap free agents, but everybody worked out. Every free agent produced. That was the difference. You sign a lot of free agents to big money, then you have injuries and you have other things that come into it at the end of the day. So, nobody can copy Howie. When you copy Howie, you're always 10 steps behind because teams are literally giving away the future of their assets. And the Eagles get 2 coordinators this year, and you're 7-1. I mean, you're coming off a Super Bowl loss, even coming from a Super Bowl in general. No teams look like this the next year. It almost never happens, which means that the moves are just great. You have a good head coach that's keeping the culture intact, and obviously Jalen Hurts is gravitating players towards him. And defense. This used to be a team that quality free agents or free agents in general. This team wasn't attractive for players to come here. It wasn't. Like we always used to say, "Oh, you ain't gonna come here." This team's like. That's how it was. But now it's like I want to play with Jalen Hurts. Like you know what I mean? Like everybody's just intrigued by it now. Every running back, every receiver. I mean, there's not everybody, but damn, a lot of players want. I don't think the media gives him Hurts, and obviously any analyst on television is giving Hurts 100% respect. But I think when it comes down to the players in the league in general, I think he gets a lot of respect from the players around other teams and stuff like that. So
and this coaching staff, I feel like Nick Sirianni is like, I don't know if you ever worked in sales, but like usually you have like that one like manager in sales that tries to keep everybody's morale up. So they're always like, yeah, what do you like to do, man? Let's do that. And like, like get you hyped. Like I feel like that's what Nick Sirianni is. It's like, whatever you're about, be that, and we'll work around it. And that's really nice for players, because it is obviously a job, it is obviously a professional environment, but at the same time, these guys want to be themselves. They want to find different avenues to kind of express themselves. And
Right.
The fact that we don't have a bunch of players with podcasts, a bunch of players, always in the front of the media, speaks a lot to not only, Nick Sirianni and how he keeps a tight ship, but Jeffrey Lurie, how he has the respect of players, and how the veterans have the respect of these players to be like, listen, let's not look stupid. We represent the Eagles on and off the field. So I think it's beautiful, man. You don't hear a bunch of news about Eagles players, we're sitting here talking about Kenny Gainwell responding to IG messages at halftime, which is probably the least of worries, for some teams. So we're really lucky that we have ownership and a quality atmosphere and just culture that people feel comfortable being themselves.
Yeah, and the players feel wanted. I mean, that's what it comes down to. The players feel wanted and highly respected, and you could be yourself. It's not a dictatorship here. It's always been let your personality show. Like, and that's what they've given guys second chances. They've from the whole Jalen Carter stuff during the draft, which I think was way overblown, and I don't talk about it much because people will get on you because of what they believe politically and stuff like that, which I don't get into. But yeah, I mean it's a big week. So to go into like other guys they could really go after here. If let's just say and I think the linebacker, what do you think of the linebacker news this week that maybe, I know Jordan Hicks, everyone was talking about Jordan Hicks, does it make sense for them to even go after a linebacker right now, or is it more pass rusher or anything else in your mind?
It does and it doesn't. Like, yes, Nakobe Dean he's been inconsistent. I'll say that. I don't think he's been trash at all, but I think he has been very inconsistent, and it's mainly because he has to call things as well. Like, his play to me has not been bad. How do I put this? Him calling the defense, I think, has left a lot to, desire. But if you go out there and get somebody, you're not getting a Mike. You're not getting a guy that's, going to call your defense. I doubt it, at least. You'll probably get like a Sam or somebody that plays the outside and, just is a part of your linebacking core. So it does make sense if you're able to get like a Devin White. You know what I mean? If you're able to go out there and get a guy that changes the face of your linebacking core and possibly your defense, then yeah, it definitely makes sense. But I think defensive line is more so where, and it doesn't even really have to be a huge name. It really doesn't. Maybe you wait, see if you can get somebody from another team, during this we have less than 24 hours now. Or maybe you say, hey, what is Ndamukong Suh doing? What is Linval Joseph doing? Maybe we need a couple weeks of them to just get Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter some serious rest and go from there. Maybe the answer's on your roster. Maybe you say, let's finally get rid of Derek Barnett and give Nolan Smith some more snaps. Maybe you bring up Mauro Ajamo. There are answers, I think, on this roster. Maybe not a lot, but I don't think that there's anybody out there that instantly makes your linebacking crew, the best unit on your team. And outside of, like I said, if you're going to be able to get like a Devin White, maybe I'm trying to think of teams that are like realistically selling.
Well, Patrick Queen, you don't think that's realistic anymore? Probably not now.
I doubt it, just because that defense is really, really good. A lot of people talk about, Lamar Jackson and what he's doing offensively, which, deservedly so. But that defense is like top 5 in a lot of categories. I don't want to say most, but a lot of categories. And he's a big part of that. And he's young. So I just don't see any linebackers out there realistically that are worth like what they'll probably cost, So I'm looking at D-line because I think that's somewhere you can always just fit somebody in. Maybe you go out there and get another safety if, not to take over for Reed, but maybe a third guy, kind of how we did in 2017 where we had, what's Holmes' name? I forget who we had. But we had that third safety that, we played a lot of 3 safety looks. Maybe that's what you want to do, keep somebody in the box as a safety, and that kind of solves 2 problems, right? You kind of have a guy that plays safety, but also can kind of play that linebacker role. So I'm looking either secondary, maybe another cornerback, just for depth. But D-line, I think, makes a lot of sense. And then offensively, man, honestly, go get yourself a running back, bro. And it's not to take any more snaps away from DeAndre Swift. Trust me, that's a lot. Corey Graham, thank you, EC.
Okay.
That's the last thing you need to do is take more snaps away from DeAndre Swift. But just somebody you trust in those goal line situations, as even just those third down situations that you trust as a pass blocker, or maybe teach DeAndre Swift how to, read coverage or read defenses and learn how to pass block a little bit better. Because what we're doing right now makes no sense. I really do not like seeing Kenny Gainwell out there right now. And maybe down the line he gets better, but this ain't down the line. And we're trying to win a Super Bowl right now. So I think you need to find something that works a little bit better than what Kenny Gainwell's giving you.
No, I think I get it, dude. Like I would love for them to get another running back if that's the case. But like I said, it comes down to like if they're not figuring it out right now, and it seems like Sirianni is defending just, I mean, you're not going to throw players on the bus during press conferences. It's like, oh, this is what Sirianni said. And I'm like, dude, like, the rules of like what these guys do, right? Like, they're not just going to be like, oh, yeah, he sucks. They're not going to, he played like crap.
As much as we would want them to, right?
But it's not going to happen. So, like, I think, as a coach, he has to defend his players. That's what I expect him to do. And because once you start throwing players on the bus, then it starts to gets chippy. It's going to, then the media is going to go all over that for day in and day out, and questions are going to be nonstop. So as much as I want a running back, and then like I say, it's a luxury, but is it more of a need or is it more luxury? I don't know. I mean, I feel like they could use what they have right now, but they're just not doing it. For me personally, and I understand, like, if they're looking for pass rusher right now, it might not be DT, it might be defensive end. They might look at, the Panthers got their first win, but they might look at Brian Burns, maybe. That could be a possibility. They might go after, maybe they'll try to do something with the Bears for Yannick Ngakoue. I know he just got there, but they could. There was a lot of defensive ends available this past offseason. The one that would be really interesting, I saw news on today, was Danielle Hunter. Okay, now Hunter, he's got 10 sacks this year. I think he leads the league in sacks this year. And
that would actually make a lot of sense.
Apparently, they were willing to trade him for a second-round pick. And it looks like they're not getting that. And it looks like they still want to kind of ship him this year. They said they might, that the Vikings are willing to go down on price. If you get Danielle Hunter, lower than a second-round pick, that's pretty damn good.
Even if it's 2 picks, I'll give up a third and a fifth right now. There you go.
Danielle Hunter is like top of my list right now. If and like I said, like, I'm not aiming for it, like they got to do this, but getting anybody. But obviously, when you talk to these players that are coming in, like, you're going to be in a rotation, you're going to get your chances. Like, this is, keeping guys fresh like that. Even old, Danielle Hunter, I don't know how old he is, but keeping a guy fresh like that into your lineup is fantastic. I know we're hoping it's not going to turn into a Robert Quinn situation again, where because that was like a waste of a 4th-round pick. It was just a total waste. He did absolutely nothing. And I don't know. Apparently because remember, he was dealing with injury when we got him. I think that's what happened. And then he was out with that knee injury later on. Then he came back and he was just useless after that. So it's kind of a wasted year. You get a guy that's at the peak of his, the late latter part of his career. It's just going to happen. But yeah, I'm looking at those 3 right now. Like, Danielle Hunter's like the top of the top.
Hunter's only 29. Hunter's only 29. I mean, only that's, right at that cusp, right? Once you hit 30, you start getting old in NFL. But
you lose Kirk Cousins now. So now with the Achilles injury, so now, what's their mindset, that they're still going to win this year? I don't know, because then now they're going to be dealing with Justin Jefferson might not even come back. I mean, he might come back. He might be healthy at some point in a week or two. But if he comes back, he's still eyeing a new contract right now. So he might be holding out and say, why am I going to play if we're not going anywhere? That's going to be his mindset. Say, why waste myself this year? Not trying to be selfish, but getting his money, and that's what he wants, until he gets back on the field again. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. Cavia Street. I mean, why him? We have another guy on this defensive line that's got 2 whole tackles for the year. Hasn't done a damn thing this year. I thought Barnett was going to get that penalty from behind when he, I think it was a late. I thought it was going to be a late hit to the ground when the guy was going to the ground. I mean, he's still here. I feel like there's a little favoritism with Game Off. I feel like there's a little favoritism with Derek Barnett right now, just a little bit. Derek Barnett wanted to trade. But what is there? If there's no value in Barnett, which I can't see, I don't know if you think there's a value, because I feel like you got to put him in a trade package. I feel like you have to. It kind of put a little bit of spice on it. That's all.
I would take a conditional 7th. You know what I'm saying? I would take money consideration. I know they only do that in the NBA, but you know what I'm saying? I'll take whatever you want to give us at this point. Like, I would cut Derek Barnett. If I was the Eagles, I would cut Derek Barnett. I don't know the financial implications of doing that, but he's doing nothing. He's doing literally nothing. And not only that, it sends a bad message. It sends a bad message to, the rest of the team and to even Eagles fans, because it's like, all right, so this guy can just come here and do absolutely nothing and still get snaps. Nolan Smith already has a sack, and he's playing like 4 or 5 snaps a game. Like, come on. I mean, not
a quarterback hit in like 15 games for Derek Barnett. I don't think he's had a quarterback hit in like 15 games.
I don't think he's even seen the quarterback in like 15 games. Like, the boy's doing absolutely nothing. And I feel bad, because I was saying, prior to the season that, he's depth. He's a good depth piece. He's a guy that's productive usually, but he's just been trash this year. And it sucks even watching him, from him asking for a trade and then him just doing nothing on the actual field. It's like, who cares? Why would you want that? Why would you want that on the team?
Yeah, like even when they re-signed on that 2-year deal, it was very, very confusing. It was probably the most confusing thing, because me and Philly were on stream when it happened. It was like a total like out of the blue thing, and we were talking about Derek Barnett at that moment, and it was the weirdest thing. I felt like it was like, you know what? It looks good on Howie, his resume, to re-sign a first-round pick. And I feel like they just put like another feather in his cap by doing that. But he's been nothing but like another Corey Clement for this team. He's been like a 1-year wonder, really. And then there's injuries on top of that. And then insulting injuries with being a drive killer, penalties, having more penalties than sacks. Has just been trouble at this point. The only good thing he hasn't done this year was be a knucklehead on the field. That's really the only thing he's done that's good. He hasn't really messed anything up. So I think, the Eagles, before the season started, kind of like got into his ear a little bit. Like, he's got to be a lot smarter. He's got to be more about the team. I know people can, we have a new era of Eagle fans now, where if a receiver complains about something, they all think he's poison. Everybody, there are some TMZ Eagle fans out there. There are some guys out there that like to, be the TMZ of the Philadelphia Eagles and just talk about the bad things for clicks half the time. And trust me, I have no issue talking about shit, because I'm tired of that crap. And we hold the receivers to a high standard now. And because the camera shows on certain things on the sideline, it makes it look, they paint it to a different picture, and they make it look worse. This happens every game to a lot of teams. It's just that the camera's just not showing it. And the day when AJ Brown was like, give me the damn ball. Oh, well, we've been giving him the damn ball, and look what he's done. Like, do you think he'll have 125 plus this Sunday? Continue the streak?
I don't know. I think he'll have 100 plus. I think he will at least have 100 plus. Yeah, you know what? I do think he will have 125. Throw caution to the wind. Yes, he's gonna go out there and ball out again. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, it's gonna be a long time for someone breaks that. It's gonna be a long time. He might hold that record for years.
Go out there and expose Deron Bland and whoever the heck their other cornerback is. They've been talking so highly of these guys. I want everything to I want the sky to fall for Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys fans. And we have the team to be able to do that. We really do. We have the team to be able to do that.
I totally agree. Yeah, so I mean, the main thing is right now, like injury wise, we're just waiting for some guys to get back. Jalen Carter is like the number one guy. I was nervous. I was nervous going from Sunday into Monday. This morning, I'm like, oh, he's getting an MRI. I'm like, oh no, like like I'm just waiting for some bad news, but it seems like it's going really well right now for Jalen Carter. And, it's looking like he's in the direction of playing on Sunday. So, because I think it makes it more comfortable for the Eagles to play guys. Everybody's banged up. It's just everybody's banged up right now. Like it might not show on the injury report half the time. Here's the question I have for you on the Jalen Hurts injury. Why hasn't this injury been reported on any of the injury reports for weeks? Like, is that against the law? Is that against the rules though? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think it is. That's a great question. I mean, there's been guesses about what it is. I honestly don't know. I don't know how you get away with that, to be 100% honest with you. You're supposed to report them. Maybe it's something that it's not bad enough for them to have to report, that it's like something that he's continuously full, participant in practices. So it's kind of like a loophole to the rule. But I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm surprised how tight-lipped they've been with it, because they've done everything but admit that something's wrong with them. Like, they've kind of walked around every question that's been asked about it. I wish I had a good answer for you. I really don't know how they're getting away with it. My educated guess, I guess, would be that it's probably not bad enough for him to miss time in practice, so they don't have to say anything. That's what I'm guessing. But yeah, they are supposed to, actually report it. But if he's full participant, maybe they just don't have to. That's the only guess I got.
Yeah, maybe if he sits out, that's the problem. And you're frozen, so that means we should probably head out.
My camera, it's the microphone. I don't know. Maybe it's StreamYard. That's what I'm going to blame it on. That's what I'm gonna blame it on.
I don't know. But yeah, guys. I mean, we've kind of went through everything as of right now. Let me actually, give me your score prediction for Sunday.
I'm going to say the Cowboys lose. You see how I said Cowboys first, getting people thinking I was going to say Cowboys win. Cowboys lose. I'll say Eagles score 35, Cowboys 27.
Okay.
And I think that Jalen Hurts is the driving force behind that game. I think the defense has a couple big plays, maybe a turnover or two. And I honestly think that we might be able to shut down CD Lamb. I think that we're going to key in on him, and I think that we will shut down CD Lamb. So we'll see what happens, but they're definitely not going to run the ball on us. So I think CD's the only guy we got to worry about. Let's go out there and shut that boy down.
Yeah. I'm going to say 37-24. That's what I'm going to go down to. Oh, that's impossible. No. Let me tell you something. And nothing's impossible, because you can't go off of how a team plays the week before. And that's what everybody does every single time. And that's not the case. This is going to be a war this week. And I know everyone's going to be, it's going to be crazy with content this week. It's going to be nuts. So
yeah, I'm already. Oh.
You good?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
here we go. Look at that. But no, yeah, I'm already asked to be on like 15 different Cowboys channels, and you know what I'm saying? I gotta act like I'm friendly with them for like 3 more days. But it's war. It is war. Usually I'm one of those guys that like to go on podcasts and have open conversations and talk about, football. Nah, it's full on war this week. I don't like none of them. I hate all of them. Even my boy James that we do our show, we already said we ain't friends this week. We don't know each other. It's all war, bro. Like, there's been a lot of ish talk all season already. We owe them a good butt whooping. We owe them a very good butt whooping.
We're waiting for this moment for weeks. We're waiting for weeks. So definitely, I mean, I think that's it. I mean, kind of went through Washington, went through all the trade stuff. I mean, it was more stuff to talk about today, which, I didn't, I already had this stream set up before anything was going to happen today. Just more to talk about anyway. We talked about obviously the Cowboys and how, we're going to get this win on Sunday. and get into the bye week and get guys back and get guys healthy. Coming off the Super Bowl is great. The cons of coming off the Super Bowl is to give you a hard schedule. The pros on it is, you get a really good bye week, and it's a perfect bye week for us. Dead little bit over middle of the season, so I'm very happy with that. So, anything going on with the channel this week? Anything set?
Yeah, this week is just a lot of. I'm going live for the game with my boy James. We do that every Cowboys,
boy.
and yeah, it's.
How is that?
It's terrible. I love my boy to death, but both of our girlfriends love our show. We love they know we're friends and everything. So every time we finish one of those, because we did it last year, every time we finish one of those, they're like, "Are you guys good? You guys y'all talked about it? Y'all cool? Y'all not? Y'all don't hate each other, right?"
Yeah.
It gets pretty bad, but yeah, we're gonna do that. Tomorrow I'm gonna be on a couple of Cowboys channels, and I'm gonna I probably won't have any Cowboys people on my channel. I'm not gonna lie to you outside of the Sunday game, but I'm gonna be definitely attacking the boys all week. We're gonna be going through some film on the Cowboys and seeing how we can attack them. So same old thing, just a team we hate a little bit more. That's really it.
All right. So let's go over the poll really quick. Last thing, we're going to end the poll right now. And with 540 votes, Howie's position target after the Cavia Street trade. All right. Running back, 7%. Whoa, did I just put running back twice?
Oh, I think you did, yeah.
Fuck. I didn't even realize I put running back twice.
You was trying to set it up.
I'm trying to set up to linebacker. Shit. All right. Well, I just completely messed up this poll. I don't know why nobody told me.
We'll say 31% running back then.
Yeah, we'll just say 31. DB 31%, and in the lead 35% defensive line. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. So Van Super says Dak is half the man his mother was. It's gonna be bad this week. It's gonna be crazy.
That's a great one.
But definitely 315 in the chat. Appreciate everybody on this late night coming in and supporting me, supporting my boy Joe Castro. If you haven't subscribed to his channel, his link is in the description below. I've been spamming it in the live chat. Go over, check out his streams this week, check out his videos this week. Definitely put the likes up on the stream like crazy. So we'll probably be back next week, maybe, if Joe's not sick of me by now.
We got this.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you guys have a fantastic night, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, guys. Peace out.